Have you ever heard a sound so quiet it felt like an explosion? That was the silence from my wife, Amelia, when I asked her about the tiny GPS tracker ID sewn into the lining of her favorite Burberry coat. The line went dead with the weight of everything she wasn't saying, and in that void our 10-year marriage finally flatlined. I was sitting in my car, parked across from a sleek, impersonal hotel in Chicago's Gold Coast. The dashboard clock glowing 11:47 p.m. The rain was tracing jagged lines down the windshield, blurring the city lights into a watercolor of my own private hell. I knew she was in there, in a room paid for by my money, with a man who wasn't me. The mystery wasn't asterisk if asterisk she was cheating anymore. The mystery was how completely I was going to burn her world to the ground. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. It started subtly, as these things always do. It's a shift in the atmosphere of our home, a cold front moving in that had nothing to do with the Chicago winter. Amelia, who once filled our apartment with laughter, became a ghost haunting its edges. Her phone, once left carelessly on the kitchen counter, was now permanently attached to her hand, its screen angled away from me with a practiced flick of the wrist. She started working late, networking dinners with clients I never heard about. The excuses were slick, polished, and delivered with a dismissive wave of her hand that made me feel small for even questioning them. She was a master of manipulation, turning my concern into an accusation, my hurt into a weakness. "Don't you trust me?" she'd ask, her voice laced with a chilling disappointment that made me question my own sanity. The first real crack in her facade was a credit card statement. A charge for $200 at a place called the Violet Hour, a dimly lit, intimate cocktail lounge in Wicker Park. I knew her friends, and none of them would choose a place like that. When I asked, she claimed it was a work event, but her eyes darted away for a fraction of a second too long. That night, I couldn't sleep. The 2 a.m. glow of her phone screen from her side of the bed was a beacon of her betrayal. I waited until she was in the shower, my heart hammering against my ribs, and I picked it up. Her password, my birthday, was a cruel joke. The texts were under a man's name, Julian. The messages were a sickening mix of inside jokes and logistical planning, veiled in corporate speak that was insultingly transparent. Confirming our 9 p.m. merger, one read. Asset acquisition was a major success. Another said, dated the night of the Violet Hour charge. Felt the blood drain from my face. I wasn't just a husband, I was a liability to be managed. That was the day the man she married died. The loyal, loving fool was gone, and in his place something cold and methodical began to grow. I didn't confront her. Instead, I became a phantom, gathering evidence with a quiet obsession. I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop who operated out of a dusty office in the Loop. He was expensive, but the photos he delivered a week later were priceless. Amelia and Julian, laughing as they left a restaurant on Rush Street, his hand possessively on the small of her back. Them kissing, silhouetted against the window of that Gold Coast hotel room, a scene of obscene intimacy. I spread the glossy 8x10s across my desk, and for the first time in months, I felt a sense of power. They felt untouchable, wrapped in their bubble of arrogance and deceit. They had no idea the storm that was coming. My revenge had to be absolute, a masterpiece of social, legal, and emotional destruction. The legal trap was first. I met with the most ruthless divorce attorney in Chicago, a woman known for leaving her opponents with nothing but the clothes on their backs. We meticulously documented everything. Amelia's spending, the evidence of the affair, her attempts to hide assets in a separate account I'd discovered. The social trap was more delicate. Amelia was a social climber, obsessed with her status on the city's charity circuit. Her crowning achievement was her position on the board of a major children's hospital foundation, and their annual gala was in 2 weeks. It was the perfect stage. The night of the gala was electric with tension. Amelia was radiant in a backless gown, dripping with the jewelry I had bought her. She floated through the ballroom of the Drake Hotel, oblivious, while I played the part of the doting husband. Julian was there, of course, a smug, self-satisfied predator in a tailored tuxedo. He nodded at me from across the room, a flicker of condescending pity in his eyes. Hey, he thought he had one. The presentation began. As the head of the foundation took the stage, he announced a surprise anonymous donation of $250,000. And then, a special video presentation to honor the families the foundation served. My video, the first image that filled the massive screens on either side of the stage, was a photo of me and Amelia smiling on our wedding day. A collective awe rippled through the crowd. Then the screen cut to black. The next image was one of the PI's photos, Amelia and Julian locked in a passionate kiss outside the hotel. A gasp echoed through the ballroom. The screen changed again. A text message from Amelia to Julian. He has no idea. So pathetic. Then another photo, this one of them entering the hotel lobby, her hand in his. The final slide was a bank statement showing the thousands of dollars she had spent on him from our joint account. The silence was absolute, a crushing weight of public humiliation. I watched Amelia's face. The color drained from it, her mask of poise shattering into a million pieces. Her eyes, wide with horror, found mine across the room. There was no anger in my gaze, no sadness. Just a cold, empty finality. People were staring, whispering, turning their backs on her. Julian had already vanished. She was utterly, completely alone, exposed under the glare of the high society she so desperately wanted to be a part of. She stumbled out of the ballroom, a pariah. The next morning, she was served with divorce papers. Her assets were frozen. Her friends wouldn't take her calls. The foundation issued a public statement removing her from the board. She was ruined. I never saw her again. Sometimes late at night, I think about that final silent phone call. The tracker was just a piece of technology, but it became the trigger for an avalanche she never saw coming. The quietest moments are always the loudest.